Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Mark. Welcome back. So, I got the boat out this week, and I'll tell you, it was an adventure. I had no idea what was in store for me and my buddy Graham that day. After getting to the lake, my buddy and I got the boat in the water and started heading out of the marina. As soon as I gave the boat some throttle, it began to generate a long tone. The motor was in guardian mode. I did not know why. I checked the oil was good. There was nothing else I could really do. Once it's in guardian mode, it needs to be hooked up to a computer similar to the way that your car does, and it just reads codes. I did not know why. I checked the oil was good. There was nothing else I could really do. Once it's in guardian mode, it needs to be hooked up to a computer similar to the way that your car does, and it just reads codes. I was basically at the mercy of the trolling motor in the morning while we fished, and as the weather progressively got worse, I decided to limp the boat back to the ramp. It was pretty intense. The fishing was shitty, the weather was shitty, and sailboating was a real problem. I'm about to show you why. So, sit tight and see what we got. Yeah, sailboat, it was basically just kind of being bounced off the shore, and the keel was stuck in the rocks, and they weren't going anywhere. You know, and I gotta remember too, my boat is damaged. My motor is not working. So I was very limited on what I was able to do. You know, and then once I would get that motor going, I would, like I said, I'd have 30 seconds to a minute, and then that tone would start up, and I would have to shut the motor down. I basically had to put myself in a position that if the motor died, I could float away without putting myself in danger. You know, I'm trying to help people, but at the same time, you know, I'm not trying to destroy my boat. And there was no imminent danger with these folks. They weren't in danger of being hurt. Their boat maybe, but physically they were going to be fine. You know, we made the decision to try to pull it off the rocks, and it happened pretty fast.
Longer than I thought I was.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. This is my first time towing a sailboat. But we're gonna give it hell. You wanna go right here?
Right here, yeah, sure.
No, you want the other one. There's no cleats there.
There's, how long's your rope? You can reach across.
Whatever you want.
Okay, just drop the line.
Get the boat.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
We're good. Good kick.
Drop the line. We'll turn back around and go in here.
We were able to help them land at the dock and then load it on the trailer, and away they went. And their day was over. And there wasn't anybody around. It was a very slow day, and due to the wind. I mean, nobody wanted to be out there.
Oh,
They
yeah,
were
good
stuck
catch.
there for well over an hour.
I'm busy.
No, you have to.
I'm busy.
I got you. You guys are fine. Everybody, we're good.
We're secure.
Okay. All right, you guys.
Thank you so
You never plan for these kinds of events.
We're gonna hang around. Make sure.
This
you
is
guys
serious
get-
business out in the water, and if people are in distress, I'm gonna help every time.
Get the sail down. That might help.
That will.
Good job, Graham.
Thank you. Yeah, bud.
Wow, tight.
It could not be any worse of a win for you to do this right now.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, I thought that was the only way that was gonna happen, is if somebody was here to
Oh yeah, well, I don't.
catch you, you know?
No, that helps tremendously.
Wow, that was awesome.
so much.
Yeah, we didn't catch any fish, but we sure did catch a sailboat.
The water temperature was 49 degrees. 49 degrees. The wind was blowing in excess of 25 to 30 miles an hour, which the air temperature was around 50. You know, the gentleman that was holding the boat while his partner was parking the truck, started up a conversation with us and began to tell us, that he wasn't in very good shape. He was pretty ill. Without going into it, he was in bad shape. And, in my mind, I'm like, what? Why are you even out here? This isn't the day. As the two gentlemen in the catamaran are, getting ready and, they're now sitting in the catamaran, here comes this sailboat. She's coming in hot. There's nothing we can do about it. My buddy and I immediately, we stopped the boat. We got it. So we got a catamaran on one side and we got this lady's sailboat, and they're right next to each other. And the guy in the catamaran could have cared less, which bugged me a lot.
Okay, you're good.
And later on, you're going to ask yourself, like, why did I do what I did? Well, it's because that's just who I am. The guy in the catamaran's going bananas. Let her go. Just let her go. We need to get around her. We need to go out. We need to go. And I'm like,
Graham,
the dude that owned the boat and drove it there, and he was an ass. Sorry, but that's what he was. He was a jerk the entire time, and
all right.
That's just what he was gonna do. So he's yelling at me to just let her go, so he can go. And I'm trying to think fairly quickly on how we can do this without letting her go, because it took, like I said, it took a while for her to even get there, and now she's going back down away with the wind, so it's going to be another problem. Well, finally, due to where these boats were going and how things were going, I had to let her go. I felt horrible about it. After the fact, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I would have let those two clowns go. That's what happened. Now, she ended up floating down the lake and trying to get back and just couldn't do it. No. So she ended up parking it in one of the marina slips and just hanging out. And she was moored at the dock. Different dock, but, we saw her. She was physically okay. So, that was fine. Now, these two yahoos in the catamaran, they tried getting out into the main lake and were just being unsuccessful. And within 10 or 15 minutes of them leaving the dock, they were banging against the rocks. The catamaran dudes being in the marina, I'm like, well, whatever. They're just going to float around the marina, out of control. But, they're in the marina. So at that point, my buddy went, and it's a long ass uphill and quarter-mile walk to go get the truck. So he left to go get the truck, and the catamaran was making its way kind of towards the breakwater again, and they were broadside to the wind, and the wind picked up heavy and absolutely flipped that boat over. It in a quarter of a second, it just flipped it over like it was a toy. And the two gentlemen just went flying out of the boat. And like I said, the water temperature was cold. The air was cold. And now we got a real problem. We have people in the water. I didn't know if they were conscious, if they hit their heads. I couldn't see. I mean, I could see them. I just couldn't see movement from where I was. It was too far away, and the water was moving up and down, and it was difficult. But I immediately started the boat and went up there. And when I got there, by that time the catamaran was floating down the lake with the wind, and the gentleman who owned the boat was hanging on to the end of it. I said, "Do you need help?" He said, No, you go save Harold. So I went to attend to the other gentleman. He seemed like he was okay floating down the lake with his catamaran, but he had no way to stop it. It was going wherever the wind took him. He was damn lucky that the dock got in the way. Otherwise, he'd have floated a quarter mile past the dock. That would have been a problem. So I made it to his partner, and he had just kind of climbed on top of a rock where this happened, and this gentleman was able to get to where the incline started for the rock part of the dam. So he was kind of standing on a rock, and and it's thrashing, and I don't have control. Like, if this boat dies, I'm gonna bang against the rocks, and it's just gonna beat the hell out of it. So what I did was I nosed in, killed the motor enough where I thought he could just kind of throw himself onto the boat. Well, instead the boat's pulling away from the shore, and he's holding onto the side. So within seconds, he's just in 30 feet of water holding onto the side of the boat. And I tried pulling him in, and he told me he did not have the strength to pull himself up. Okay. So at that point, I said, well, you're going to have to hang on, and I will drive you to the dock. Yeah. It wasn't that far. It was a few hundred feet. And all I could think about the whole time was the condition this gentleman was in and the conditions outside. The guy was pale white, turning blue, a real sign of inexperience with what was going on. And, pretty ignorant, in fact. So I offered anything to these people. Can I get you water or clothing or any, do you guys have change of clothes? Like, what can we do? They didn't want any part of it. The harbor, the people that managed the area down there came down and asked if they could help, and they're like, nope, doing this all themselves. And I was probably there for another hour plus after I had gotten the gentleman to the shore. He's bleeding all over. His hand is cut fairly bad, and they don't want to go get help. It was just an absolute gong show. And part of me is glad that I was there, and part of me wasn't. Like I said, if somebody's in distress, I'm going to do whatever I can, whether I like the guy or not. And I know a lot of you are the same way. On your watch, nobody's going down. All right, I know that video was fairly long, but my takeaway from the whole day was patience and staying within yourself and in control. It's really easy to go completely apeshit in stressful situations. And I think at one point in the video you can hear one of the people just yelling at the wife. Yeah, that's not helping. I know what happens. At the end of the day, the more you can stay composed in a stressful situation, especially in the water, because I can't stress enough how the water will kill you. And if you're not careful, you can damage your boat, yourself, and other people. Right? I recognized there was going to be issues, and we were kind of prepared and willing and able to help. Able is a strong word because, like I said, I was, I have a motor problem that I didn't know about until then. So, we'll get it looked at, and we'll be back on the water. We'll see you guys in the future. Thanks for watching.